Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I've got the Stamina Nightblade to show you. And this ganker build is probably one of my most favorite things lately. It's super cheap to acquire and it is just a super powerful build that requires very little effort from you in putting together. So without further ado, here are your unbuffed stats. You're looking at 1436 stamina recovery. This is only with your drink passive, or your drink buff up. Your weapon damage is almost at 5100 with no minor or major brutality buffs. Your physical penetration is at 16.5 basically. Now on this build I choose to run a stage 4 vampire, and I choose that specifically for two of these passives that are in here. Actually find what I'm looking for. I'm a professional. I like the unnatural movement passive when I'm at stage 4. Reduce the cost to sprint at 50%, and if you continuously sprint for 3 seconds, you become invisible. It is very, very, very hard to catch a vampire with any sort of major expedition buff, any movement buffs that has this passive. They get this and they're gone. Then you also have your undeath passive, which is really good when you're at lower health. Saves you from maybe getting a one-shot sometimes. Then you also absolutely need to be a vampire for the Strike from the Shadows perk. Extra weapon and spell damage just from leaving sneak or invisibility. Now, the gear we run with this build has two different variations. You can choose to run a monster set, or you can choose to run two one-piece monster sets. If you run the two-piece, you're going to have a very good burst window, but that's only going to happen when you equip Balorghs. This is a very nice set. I wish I had it in a pair of medium here, just to further buff my stats. But if you run heavy, you're going to have a little extra survivability, nothing crazy. Whenever you ult with this set, you're going to do a bunch of extra weapon damage and a bunch of extra penetration. It's very good. Now, if you choose to run the two one-pieces, it doesn't matter particularly what you do, as long as you have one line of offensive penetration and one line of weapon and spell damage. Ideally, you're going to want stamina enchants on everything, and you're going to want them to be in divides. This is an extreme glass cannon build. You're going to kill somebody, you're going to get out, you're going to reset, and then you're going to do it again. Now, the sets I've elected to use for this character are very cheap. They're overland. You can acquire them within a few hours of your time, or you can buy them on a guild trader, whichever is most convenient to you. Here's the sticky Inset. You can find this in Cold Harbor. It is absolutely a beast when you want to do some massive damage very quickly. 2 lines of weapon and spell damage, another line of offensive penetration, and another buff that stacks with your vampire passive. When you leave sneak or invisibility, you gain more weapon damage. And of course, our other set is something you're not going to stray away from as a stamina burst character. Here's your Spriggans. You're going to have this on your jewelry. It's very easy to acquire. I have it all infused jewelry with weapon damage enchants. You're going to get 2 lines of max stam, a line of weapon and spell damage, and 339 offensive penetration. That is very huge. Now, I'm running a Spriggans Maul with a weapon damage enchant. I have this sharpened. You can elect to run Nirnhound. You're not going to see a very different variation in your stats if you run Nirnhound or sharpened with this particular build. And on my back bar, I have the Master's Perfected Bow. You do not, and I repeat, not need the perfected version of this set. It gives you 100 extra weapon and spell damage. That does not matter on much of a grand scale. It's just nice to have. But when you have 2 pieces of this set, if you hit anyone with a poison arrow, you're going to gain an extra 330 weapon damage against that target. Amazing if you're trying to burst somebody down. You have extra damage there for free, and all you gotta do is hit him with one ability. Now, I'm going to show you the buff stats here. Proc our passives here. And you're looking at 6,869 weapon damage. That is a huge number. That number is only going to get higher once you practice and then proc. Your weapon damage enchant here, you're at 7,345. That penetration will also go up by another, I believe, 3,000 once you proc your assassination passive here. You're going to do extra penetration right there by just about 3,000. So when you think about that, you've got almost 20,000 penetration there. Now here's going to be the variant with Balorghs. Ideally, you're going to have the maximum amount of ultimate that you can, just to further that proc you're going to get from Balorghs. So now that we have a full ultimate gauge, we're going to buff up. We're going to let our passive proc here, and then we're going to ult our friend. We're still looking at a massive amount of damage. About 7308 with 26.5 thousand penetration. That penetration will be up by another 3k if you hit him in the back. So then you're near 30k penetration with just about the same amount of weapon damage either way. Then we're going to go into the CP here. Blue tree is going to be your most important. I like to run Untamed Aggression with Wrathful Strikes. Gives me another almost 300 weapon damage. That's pretty great. You can also change either of these weapon damage passives for either the Backstabber perk or the Deadly Aim. These are both going to give you flat rates on your attacks, and they're just as well. But if you have these, you also get that extra healing, which I personally like when I'm trying to escape from something as a stage 4 vampire. Then you're also going to use Fighting Finesse. It's an extra 10% critical damage and healing. And Master at Arms for an extra 10% direct damage attack. So when you first come up to engage with your burst, you're going to do an extra 10% damage. That's very nice. Over in the red tree, we have Rejuvenation. Extra recoveries all around the board. Helps you out when you're trying to do something. Boundless Vitality for the extra health. Celerity for the extra movement speed. Again, it's very important that you can get away from somebody when you're trying to disengage in a ganker build. If you can't get away from the person that's trying to kill you, you are going to get squished. You're a glass cannon, you gotta get in, get out. This is how you do it. And then Thrill of the Hunt. Whenever you kill somebody, you're going to gain 6 seconds of Major Expedition. That's an extra 30% to your movement speed. You jump in, you gank somebody. It only takes you 3 seconds of that total 6 seconds of Major Expedition you're going to get to proc your Vampire passive. You're invisible, you're sprinting away, super fast, nobody's going to catch you. And out. Then we're going to go over here to our green tree. I don't like to showcase the green tree. Most of it is effectively useless for your combat. It's not going to make any huge, difference in what you're going to do. I have a Steed's Blessing for out of combat move speed. Just a little bit faster that you can move, run around, do everything. Set up your attack. These down here, Liquid Efficiency, Rationer, and Steadfast Enchantment are a very, very good choice if you want to run this strictly for PvP. If you don't, then just pick whatever in here, it's not going to matter. It's not going to affect your combat. And that is the entire Stamina Nightblade Ganker build. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll subscribe and leave a like on this video. And I'll see you all next time.